ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਨਸਲੀ ਤੇ ਹਿੰਸਕ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਵਾਧੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਚਿੰਤਿਤ ਹੈ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰਸ਼ਾਸਨ ਹੇਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਣ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਹੁਣ ਰਿਪਬਲਿਕਨ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨੇਤਾਵਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਗਵਾਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੂਰਨ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਰੱਖਿਆ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣ ਅਤੇ ਸ਼ਿਕਾਇਤਕਰਤਾ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਚਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਪਤ ਰੱਖਣ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸੇ ਲੜੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਦੀ ਨਾਸ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਵਿਖੇ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਨੇਤਾ ਬੌਬੀ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਕਲੋਟੀ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਰਾਜਨੇਤਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੱਦੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਬੋਲਿਕ ਰੈਲੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਪੇਸ਼ ਹੈ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਤੋਂ ਮਨੀਸ਼ ਬਿਆਲਾ ਦੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ। ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੁਝ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਤਾਕਤਵਰ ਮੁਲਕ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਸਲੀ ਵਿਤਕਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਿੰਸਕ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਗੋਲੀਬਾਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਇਜ਼ਾਫਾ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਇਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰਪਤੀ ਨੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰੀ ਨਮੋਸ਼ੀ ਕਰਾਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਅਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਰੋਕ ਲਗਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਠੋਸ ਕਦਮ ਚੁੱਕਣ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ ਹੈ। ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਹੇਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਵਾਧੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਰ ਕੋਈ ਚਿੰਤਿਤ ਹੈ। ਖਾਸ ਕਰ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਭਾਈਚਾਰਾ ਇਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਤੇ ਰੋਕ ਲਗਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਠੋਸ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੀ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਮੰਗ ਕਰਦਾ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਲੜੀ ਤਹਿਤ ਨਿਊਯਾਰਕ ਦੀ ਨਾਸ ਕਾਉਂਟੀ ਵਿਖੇ ਅਮਰੀਕੀ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਨੇਤਾ ਬੌਬੀ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਕਲੋਟੀ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਰਾਜਨੇਤਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੱਦੇ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੰਬੋਲਿਕ ਰੈਲੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਇਸ ਰੈਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਰਿਪਬਲਿਕਨ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨਤ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੋਧ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਮੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ। ਨਵੇਂ ਜ਼ਮਾਨਤ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਤਹਿਤ ਦੋਸ਼ੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਮਾਨਤ ਖੁਦ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ ਤੋਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੀੜਿਤ ਅਤੇ ਗਵਾਹ ਅੱਗੇ ਆਉਣ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਰੇਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਦੋਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਫਲਤਾਪੂਰਵਕ ਫੜਨ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿਰੁੱਧ ਮੁਕੱਦਮਾ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਜੁਰਮ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਸੰਭਵ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਗਵਾਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ।
Honorable Majority Leader Mr. Nicoleno and other dignitaries present here. अव्वल अल्लाह नूर उपाया कुदरत के सब बंदे एक नूर ते सब जग उपजया कौन भले कौन मंदे. You know, this is a saying in the Sikh religion. Hate should have no place anywhere in any society. And I'm very glad that all the community leaders and our elected officials have taken this initiative, and they have always actually been with us in promoting diversity outreach, and for 30 years we have been together. And now also, especially with whatever is happening, we need this proactive and aggressive outreach initiative so that the message goes out that hate has no place here. You know, one thing is there, that when we all get together, that is when we strongly send this message that this should not be accepted anywhere, this should not be tolerated anywhere. This year is the 400th birth anniversary of Sikh prophet, 9th prophet Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, who sacrificed his life for humanity, for saving other religion, and that's why he was always given the title of Savior of Humanity, or Hind Di Chadar as we call in India. And especially when we have all those historical background and all those role models to follow, certainly why can't we stop this? Again, thank you very much for this opportunity. And
the entire government of Nassau County and the entire populace of Nassau County is 100% supportive of our South Asian community, our Asian American community. We are horrified by these acts of violence. We have all come together in opposition to them, and we, particularly county government, are using all of the resources of county government to prevent this type of act, and if it's taking place, to make sure that those who perpetrate them are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So again, the entire community, not just the Asian American community, but the entire community is standing with the Asian American community on this, and I think ultimately that's where the change is going to come. When people see a united front, I think it'll discourage many of these acts. And what's very encouraging is now young people are taking it upon themselves to hold rallies and to speak out. I mean, that's really encouraging. That's a really sea change in our society. So.
Especially from the Indian, the first generation who are living in this country from the last 30 or 40 years,
right.
They never come up. If something is happening, they keep with themselves. So do you think this is the biggest problem when they are not reporting such crimes?
Yes, 100%. I think people are, there's the cultural problems, there's the problems with language, but also there's generally a fear of reprisal and things of that nature. So we have to make it as easy as possible, and people have to be as comfortable as possible, reporting these crimes. If you're a witness, to come forward and say that you're witness. So Everything this county does has to make that as easy a process as possible, and we have to reach out to make sure people understand that. All right. So as you said, different communities, unless you reach out to them, they're not going to understand that we're here to help. So
important to us, and we want to make sure that they feel safe. If they don't, we want them to reach out to us, and certainly this. What we put through this morning and we had this press conference about is trying to make the state realize that when it comes to hate crimes, that information cannot be given, victims' information cannot be given, or family members of victims, the information cannot be given to those who committed the crimes or to their attorneys. So this is very important. It's just carving a small piece out of the reform laws, and but it's important because it's bad enough that a hate crime was committed, but if people are afraid to say anything because their information is giving out, it just adds another burden and very bad hardship for them, and that's so unfair to them. Look, I'm somebody who, I'm a hugger, I'm a lover. People are very, very important to me, and family is very important to me, and this is very important to me, that people feel safe and comfortable, and they should be able to share information that was done to them and not feel any confrontation because of that.
Because we're seeing more and more of it. We're seeing the hate crimes happen. They're happening right where we live and work. And that's not okay. As Legislator Walker was saying, to be the victim of a crime is one thing. The psychological damage from that, the fear that it instills in people to sense that they lost control and someone took over and victimized them essentially in whatever way it happened. But then to now be re-victimized because and have to live in even more fear, to have it sustained even longer, I can't imagine the psychological damage of knowing your information and your contact information may be going to that criminal. If it's going to his attorney, it's frankly, in my opinion, just as bad, because he can certainly access it, but he or she, but the criminal having it, they know where you live. They know. It's ridiculous. It's just unbelievable to me that this was even passed. But in the bail reform laws and on all of those reform laws. But right now, we're dealing with this issue here, and we want to address it right away because it's just gone way too far. That this is something that can happen to anybody. That if a hate crime happens, your contact information is going to be given to the person that allegedly committed that crime upon you. So
these two dynamic, hard-working, and a great humanitarian, wonderful leaders and personal friend of mine who I know long time. They must continue their job. They choose to serve the public. And I use the word must. Not too many people can do what they do every day for the community, stand for the community, work for the community. I'm humble and thankful for their friendship and your leadership, and keep doing that. Thank you, and thank you. First I want to say thank you to Presiding Officer Rachna Kalalo and all the legislature. They all believe in the same thing. Victims should never be get victimized or their family twice. And to make it easy for people to report when there is a crime or when there is a hate, when there is somebody is a victim. That's what it's all about, to make it easy to report and make sure their rights are protected or they don't become victim twice. And I support that, and I'm glad Jay Singh and Mr. Deepak Bansal, Dr. Deepak Bansal and Dr. Neeru Bamri ji joined us. And I like to say thank you to them. And it is all about no hate, peace, love, respect and all. And hate cannot be tolerated no matter where it is, no matter what kind of it is. And hate have no place in our society. And as our DA says, our county executive says, hate have no place. If somebody does, they should be prosecuted to the maximum. So that does not happen. Thank you.
न्यूयॉर्क तो मुनीश प्याला दी रिपोर्ट, चढ़दी कला टाइम TV।